got that on. We are in Revelation chapter 9, which down below the pen you can see Revelation 6 through 18. We are in chapter 9. So in Revelation we are in the 7-year tribulation. But just to make things clear, we live right here. We live in the church age. I know people that say we're in the millennium. We're in the 1,000-year reign and rule of Christ, and it's like, blink, blink. Sorry, but I'm going to have to disagree with you. And part of that, of course, is what we're going to look at today in Revelation chapter 9, just the first half. And I know some of you think that I have high hopes that I'm actually going to get through 12 verses.
I know you too well.
But I have high hopes for myself, so we're going to certainly make a good run at it. Reading from the New American Standard Bible, then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star from heaven which had fallen to the earth, and the key of the bottomless pit was given to him. He opened the bottomless pit, and smoke went up out of the pit, like the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth, and power was given them, as the scorpions of the earth have power. They were told not to hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green thing, nor any tree, but only the men, that is, humans, who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were not permitted to kill anyone, but to torment for 5 months. And their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it stings a man. And in those days, men will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, and death flees from them. The appearance of the locusts was like horses prepared for battle, and on their heads appeared to be crowns like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. They had hair like the hair of women, and their teeth were like the teeth of lions. They had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots, of many horses rushing to battle. They have tails like scorpions and stings. And in their tails is their power to hurt men for 5 months. They have as king over them the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in the Greek he has the name Apollyon. The first woe has gone. Behold, there comes yet 2 woes after these. Now, to open, everybody that has notes, everybody has the same notes, I'm going to turn over the first sheet, and I'm going to read a paragraph from a commentator named Lenski. He has, throughout the scriptures, he has a firm grip on the scriptures. He has a little different view on eschatology, but I did like this quote. If the first 4 trumpets in chapter 8, verses 7 through 12, have been variously interpreted, the confusion in regard to the 5th and the 6th is still greater. In fact, this confusion is so great that the few sober voices, which in a measure touch the truth of the most elaborate symbolism of these 2 judgments, are scarcely heard. One might, in the face of it all, simply give up in despair, close the book, and say nothing whatever. A number of interpretations are guesswork, mere fancies, if not worse. Some regard the apocalypse, that is, Revelation, as the product of a morbid imagination. These writers attempt no interpretation, but seek to discover the pagan and the older apocalyptic sources for the imagery of the text. If you were able to follow that, and the reason I wanted to read it was just to let you know that as you read the book of the Revelation, if everything was really simple, if everything was absolutely just really simple, you wouldn't even need me to open it and talk to you. I'd just say, look at it. Isn't that cool? But, and even this week I came across interesting things about this, including applying the fifth trumpet to Islam, to the Mohammedans, who in 453 did something, and in something else they did something, and in 1453 they captured Constantinople, and I'm going, all right, I can see that. Not at all. So what then, or how then, should we proceed? What then should we conclude about, for example, the fifth trumpet? Just to make it very clear where I stand, I believe that the simple translation of what we're looking at is how it should be looked at. So what are we looking at? Okay, number one, remember in chapters 4 and 5, we were in heaven, there was the throne, there was the Lamb, the one that looked as if he was slain, and then there was the scroll with 7 seals, and no one was found worthy to open it except for the Lamb. And so the Lamb had the scroll with the 7 seals. And then we proceeded to move forward with the opening of those 7 seals. And when we got to chapter 8, we see in the very first verse, when the Lamb broke the 7th seal. So Jesus has, in a sense, accomplished the opening up of that, so that what is written in advance by God, remember, God is the one who has declared the end from the beginning. I can't tell you what the end of the day is going to be, but he has declared the end from the beginning. So this scroll, as I've shared with you, is future history that has been clouded, covered, sealed, so that no one could know. Remember what Jesus told the disciples, no man knows the hour, the day, except God alone. And of course, now, all things being delivered over to Jesus, Jesus opens that scroll. And out from that scroll, the future history that God has kept secret until the writing of this book, so that you and I can sit with John and read what John writes, is the judgment of God's wrath upon the world he so carefully and wonderfully and lovingly created, and the top honors go to humans. He created us last. Everything was ready, including the work that needed to be done. So that Adam, the first thing God said, hey, name the animals. Oh, okay. Got it. And then I believe that God's intention was for Adam and his, can't even imagine how beautiful Eve must have been. Not because she was the only other human on earth to Adam, but she must have been very beautiful. But what they were supposed to do, I believe, was to make that garden expand it out. And of course, whether they lasted 24 hours or 48 hours or a week or a month, I doubt it was very long before Satan came and said, I want to destroy this. I really do. So I'm going to start with you, the creme de la creme. I'm not going to start with the bears and the giraffes and the hippopotami. Who cares? I'm going to start with you. And so that began God down the path of preparing for the redemptive story, which was taken care of in the first Advent. So the first coming of Jesus is past. We already celebrated that about a month ago, Christmas. And so he prepares us, he warned us, he taught us that there is a second coming. And in this, we haven't seen it, but we are looking for it. And it will be coming up, roughly chapter 18, 19. So we're in here, the 7-year tribulation. We are probably at the midpoint. It's really hard in this, and I am the first to admit that it's difficult. Where are we on this slide rule situation? Are we here, or here, or here, or here, or here? Are we right at the end? Are we right at the beginning? I don't think so, either one. I think we're in the middle, roughly in the time when the Antichrist is going to be raising his hand and say, "I'll bow, because I'm here." And people will be ready to do that. So when we see in verse 1, the fifth angel sounded, this is the fifth of the seven, "I saw a star from heaven which had fallen to the earth." Okay, we've seen stars. Asteras is what they are. And asteras are something up there that we see. And if we had a discussion on that, this discussion would begin with the fact that there are stars. We can name a few. I can only name a few. And then if we went on further with that discussion, then I would have to tell you that that star over there isn't a star at all. It's another galaxy. Seriously? Yeah, seriously. It's crazy. Another galaxy. Can you believe that? Looks like a star, but it's a galaxy. And then at certain times of the year, depending on where you are on the Central Coast, you can sit and you can watch stars shoot. We call them shooting stars. Are they stars? No. I mean, we call them stars. They're asteras, but they're just pieces of rock that are entering our atmosphere, and we can see them literally burn up. And if some of them are too big, then they land somewhere, and then we get all excited and hope that it doesn't hit our house. But so is that what this is? Is that which he sees here? "I saw a star from heaven which had fallen to the earth." Is that a star, Alpha Centauri? Is that a star, one with a whole bunch of galaxies? Is it a meteor? Well, let's read the second part of verse 1. "And the key to the shaft of the abyss was given to him." Okay, so not Alpha Centauri, not a galaxy star, not even a meteor, but this appears to be an intelligent being. Someone with the capacity to take, receive, and act upon that. So we're going to call this being an angel, which actually, biblically, and I knew that I should have taken the time to go back and prove it, but in the Old Testament there are several times when angels are called stars. So I'm going to leave it right there. So an angel receives, there was given to him the key of the shaft of the abyss. Now, in this passage, 3 times there we will see the statement, "there was given." There was given. It's a passive word. So there's the recipient, and then someone gave something. And I'm just going to tell you now in advance of all 3 of those that I believe that the one giving to the recipient will be God himself. And if this key to the shaft of the abyss was given to this angel, as we see in verse 2, he opened the shaft of the abyss, then we assume that this abyss, which another word for it, another interpretation of the word abyss is bottomless. So we kind of more or less talk about the bottomless pit in a reference to hell. And that is a part of this abyss. So what is happening here is apparently access to the bottomless pit, access to hell is locked. Who has the key? Well, safely to say, God has the key. When will it be opened? Well, never until or unless God wants it open. And in this case, we see that God has a plan. And this plan in his judgment is to have this avenue to the shaft, to the bottomless pit, be open. So this star, this angel, opened the shaft of the abyss, and smoke ascended out of the shaft like the smoke of a great furnace. Now, in your paperwork, I tried to, in the fourth page that I sent you was this one, and that's the whole passage, and I wanted you to see the greens, which were ases, and the yellows, which were likes. Likes is like as, and as is as unto. They're both a little different, but they're both similar. In other words, when he says, like the smoke of a blast furnace, we can see it. And there came a question among the study, is this real smoke? It's like the only conclusion I can give is yes. Smoke from hell? That smells delicious, or not. So smoke ascended out of the shaft like the smoke of a great furnace. An oven, a kiln. We don't use those so much today, but anybody that burns anything knows what smoke is. It's no mystery what it is. And why would I say that it's real smoke? Well, because the sun and the atmosphere, the air, was shrouded in darkness. And the sun, the atmosphere, by the smoke of the pit, was shrouded in darkness. We know various times in history when Krakatoa erupted in whatever year that was, I forget now. That smoke went all over the world, and it dropped the temperature of the world and made fewer sunny days, and the crops failed all over the world just because of that. So historically speaking, have we seen something like this? The answer is yes. And are we going to see that again? Well, that's a trick question, because if you remember, we won't be here. So we're not going to see it again. Will the world see it again? Yes, the world will see it again, literally with their eyes. Now, is that bad? And there's nobody that would say, oh, no, that's good. No, everybody would say that bad. Well, you wish it would stop there, but it doesn't. In verse 3, then from out of the smoke there came out locusts into the earth, and there was given, there's that second, was given to them authority as the scorpions of the earth possess authority. Now, what in the world does that mean? Well, part of the, and by the way, I read that from my translation of it. The word exousia is the word that pretty much we recognize in exorcism, but it's a word that can kind of change a little. Let's see if my eyes can go on to the definition here quickly. It means power and ability and faculty, but it also means authority, rule, and dominion. And so as one looks at this and recognizes that God has given something to these beings, these locusts from hell, he's given them something that will give them limited, I'll explain that, free reign on the earth. and it's with God's approval. Again, was given. Who gave it to them? Satan? No. Satan didn't give them that authority, that power, that dominion. God would have allowed that, given it to them. So out from this smoke came locusts upon the earth. Again, depending on who you read, this is Islam attacking Christianity. This is just a variety of things, including helicopters. This is helicopters. I'm sorry if you're going to burst out laughing, because I'm preventing myself from that, but good people have said a variety of things over the years. What do I say they are? Well, I believe that these locusts are unusual because locusts typically do not have a leader. You can read that in Proverbs chapter 30. They typically eat grass and greens, and these will not be doing that. Obviously, these locusts have a similarity, a morphization of human, the face of a human, hair of a woman, teeth like a lion, and a scorpion tail. And it's like, okay, is that weird? Yes. But have any of you ever read any of the Greek classics? The Minotaurs, the Fauns, Pan, what's her face with, okay, we know who she is. Not a bad hair day, it's all snakes. Anyway, Medusa, yeah, one of my favorites. Where do you think the Greeks got that imagery? I believe that they got it from pictures of demons who still roamed the earth at one point. And great-great-great-grandfather said he saw a man on the top and a horse rear end. Okay. Saw a man at the bottom and a bull's head. All right. Saw a woman who was having a real bad hair day because all her hair was moving with snake heads. And of course, that's mythology, and I'm not saying that those are real. At the same time, if we have this picture with its really weird, did John see this? Yes, John saw this. So is this real? The only answer I can come up with is yes. Is it a symbol of something? I don't think it's a symbol. I think this is real. What you see here is what you're going to get there. So is it that strange? And the answer is it's strange. Is it so strange that it has to be something other than what it says? No, I don't think it's that strange. I think hell has done a number of things over the millennia that are not in what we would consider norm. So this power, this authority, this dominion has been given to them by God to do something. In verse 4, they are told, it was told to them that they were not to harm the herbage of the earth, that is the green grass, or anything green, nor any dendron, any tree, except, and I translate it as human beings because that's what anthropos is. If we wanted just men, we would have a different word. We'd have oner. We don't have that. We have anthropos. So these guys were on earth to do one mission, and that was to make humans' lives miserable. Verse 5. There was given to them not that they might destroy humans, but that they, that is humans, be tormented 5 months. And their torment as the torment of a scorpion, whenever it might sting a human being. Now, I've never been stung by a scorpion. I've been stung by a number of things, but not a scorpion. At camp, when I saw a scorpion, he met his maker very quickly and turned to dust as fast as scorpions possibly can. And I don't want to be stung by a scorpion. So I can only imagine that what the free reign of this tormenting by demons from hell in the shape and form of locusts is what we see. So there's a demonic plague here, and it's 5 months. Now it's interesting about the 5 months. One moment, while I look at the notes on the 5 months, it's 5H. This corresponds to the normal season of pillaging by ordinary locusts, beginning in May and extending through September. And the statement is, an acceptance of the text's plain meaning is satisfactory. In other words, we don't look for 5 months is 5 months. It's not 5 seasons of history from 232 to 453 AD and from 453 to 17. I think this is 5 months. 5 out of the last 3.5 years, 5 months of that dedicated by hell to torment men. Now, verse 6 is interesting. Read it. And in those days, so already we have something different. The 5 months days. Men will seek death. Okay, stop. What has John been doing from chapter 4 to this point? He's been telling you and I what he's seen and what he's heard. What happens in verse 6? Fascinating, but it's the first time we see John functioning as a prophet. He says, in those days, men will seek death, and they won't find it. They will long to die, and death flees from them. Death will not just be hard to find. I love this statement. It will aggressively run away from those pursuing it. Death is not an option. People may think it is. People may seek it from morning till night. And however they are prevented from it, there's no way to understand that, but it's not an option. It's not option G or option O. It's just not an option. People can put it as priority 1, priority A, exclamation point. Ain't going to happen. So John in that moment, however that happens, because I don't know, I don't think I understand how prophecy works in the sense of I'm sitting there one day and all of a sudden, oh, that's a good idea. But nevertheless, John has it. And John tells us that it's going to lead men to want to kill themselves. And God's not going to let them do it. We move on to the characteristics of these locusts in verses 7 through 11. And the appearance, which is the word likeness. The appearance, the likeness of the locusts was like horses prepared for battle. And yesterday I watched some, I guess it'd be sci-fi, some knights on their horses, and the horses were just beautiful. I mean, they were regaled with all sorts of beautiful things to prevent them from dying in battle. And that's what we're seeing here. We're like horses prepared for battle, and on their heads appeared to be crowns like gold. A couple of things there. It looked like they had crowns. So did they have crowns? Well, if it looked like they had crowns, then it was something at least similar to crowns. But notice that it says, like unto gold. And I'm thinking, how many things from hell want to be the real McCoy, and they never attain? Just like all of Satan's promises to people that if I give you what you want, you can serve me, and I'll make you rich and happy and beautiful and popular and all those things. That's one of his lies, and it's like unto gold. It's not gold. That just hit me as I was sitting there looking at that. It's like, man, can't even get it right. Anyway, we move on to their faces. Their faces were as the faces of human beings. Not of men, not male faces, but human faces. And they had hair. The nature of what was on their head, I guess under the crowns, was that their hair were as the hair of women. And I'm just going to say that it was probably long, because I don't see any historical women with short hair except Joan of Arc, and that was very specific for a specific purpose. Otherwise, women have long hair. So these human-faced locusts had women's hair. They had sharp teeth too, lion's teeth. And of course that would be vicious and the ability to tear and rip. But again, remember, God has limited them. They cannot kill. They can only make miserable, torment, torture. So that's what they do. And in verse 9, and they had breastplates as iron breastplates. Okay, again, do I know what that is? I do not. But they have some sort of covering on their chest. For what purpose? I'm not sure. Do humans pull out their 45s and see one coming and try to blast it? I don't know. Because this isn't sci-fi. Sci-fi, yes. You pull out your laser and that thing goes pfft, and it's, yay, the good guys won. But this isn't sci-fi, so I think your 45 is, I'm just going to say, useless. I don't think these things respond to shotguns and 45s, but even if they did, they've got the breastplates. So, now this one is fascinating, and the sound of their wings as the sound of chariots of many horses running into battle. And you can't have lived your life this far not to have heard at some point the minimum of just horses. Not to think about the turning of the wheels of chariots, which I guess not sure I've ever heard. But we all know the sound of horses. And it's a distinctive sound. It's like a waterfall, but it's not. If he had wanted to say it sounded like a waterfall, he would have put that. Instead, it's that thundering of horse hooves on the ground, and I also feel that as I hear it. So, and that's just their wings. That's their wings. That's not their little whatever these things are called on locusts. Hands and feet. How's that? So that's their wings. I don't know. I'm kind of picturing myself sitting at the breakfast table, looking out the window, and all of a sudden I hear the sound, and then I look and I see all these human face grinning things at me with their hair flying and coming at me. It's like, yeah, I'm freaked. And if he gets in the house, I guess I'm freaked. And verse 10, they have tails like to scorpions and stings. I want to say stingers, but everybody translates it, even the lexicon, as stings. They have tails like scorpions and stings, which is the little thing on the end that gets you and then you are poisoned. Yay, fun stuff. So they have these tails like scorpions, and in their tails, again, we have this word exousia. In their tails, their authority to harm humans 5 months. So apparently, these creatures, these awful, straight out of hell, literally straight out of hell beings, they get you, and then their stingers sting you. I don't know how big these things are. If they were as big as a human, and the stinger therefore would be commensurate with about that size, I think you'd die of a puncture wound, not just of the poison. So I don't know. Maybe they're this big. Maybe it doesn't give a size. So. All right. So there you have it. Fun stuff, huh? Okay. Well, we're not done. We have one more thing, and that is verse 11. They have as king over them the angel of the abyss. So there is someone directing this. It's not haphazard. Locusts, as near as I can understand, I don't think I've ever seen a swarm of locusts, but as I understand, I mean, I've seen them on YouTube, but not in real life. They swarm. No organization. But this has organization. And the name of the one that organizes them, their leader, is Destroyer. His name is Destroyer. Satan has a lot of names. Satan himself is Deceiver, Satanas. Apollyon, or Abaddon, pick your poison, means destroyer. So that's who's leading these. And, I trust Satan as far as I can throw him, so I can only imagine that if this destroyer is unleashed, that it isn't good for mankind. It isn't good for the world. So we have this, if you were here earlier, months ago, and we were in the early parts of chapter 6 and 6, we said these things are bad. But with every passing judgment, it gets worse. And at first, you kind of have just the two guys fighting, or two areas. Yesterday, I got an article in a magazine on Georgia. If you all remember what happened in Georgia, over by Azerbaijan and Russia, and none of us heard about it. But Georgia, this big, this portion wanted to separate, and this portion wanted to separate and become a part of Russia, stay a part of Russia. And Georgia said no way, so they fought. They fought here, they fought here, the Russians came in there, the Russians jumped in there. And that's just Georgia. And that's, we understand, quote unquote, we understand men fighting men in this world. It happens. And we understand other things. We understand famine, we understand earthquakes. All these things we understand. We kind of don't understand this. The gates of hell have been opened. And now there is activity, physical activity by horrible demonic beings. And the point is that it's accelerating. It's worse. And it's not going to get better. We get to verse 12. The first woe, what's he referring to? He's referring to the last verse in chapter 8. I saw an eagle flying in mid-heaven, saying with a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe to those who live on the earth, because of the remaining blasts of the trumpet of the three angels who are about to sound." And we get to verse 12. The first woe is done. It's left. It's gone. It's left the station. And you kind of go, whew, until you realize that the next one is even worse. So, behold, there comes yet two woes after these. So, I hope you understand where we are in this. We are in the tribulation. We're in the tribulation. It's picking up steam. It was, when it was just me fighting you, maybe there were some options. But now we've got hell involved on earth. And there aren't any options. You're not going to reason with these beasts, especially when the destroyer is in the back going, "Go get them!" So, yippee. Here's how I'm going to close. It's really nothing fancy. We're leaving within a few minutes, and I'm not going to have time to spend the time for verses 13 through 21 up there. I'm not bringing my Greek lexicon. I'm not bringing any of my tools. I can read it and read it and read it, but I won't have anything to give you next week. So I think next Sunday we're going to break from the unhappiness of this. We're going to take a little break in joy in Philippians chapter 1, because that's where we are in Bible study, and so I think that's what I'll give you, because I'm not going to have time to prepare for the next, whoa, so won't do it. All right, that was a horrible conclusion, but at least now you are better informed. All right, to the glory of God. Father, we read this, and we would be terrified if this was, on our horizon. But sadly, there's a whole lot of people that this is their horizon. And we are sad. We are sad for them. We're not just terrified of these beings, but we're sad for those who are going to be left behind. So, Father, may we pray hard for those that we know have rejected you. When opportunity arises, may we be firm in presenting truth, that there is a path to heaven, and it's called Jesus, nothing but the blood of Jesus, so that many of those left behind won't have to be. So, Father, give us what we need to serve you well this week. We commit our way to you. Bless us in the name of our Master, Jesus Christ. Amen.